It's like if Romeo and Juliet meets Godzilla meets The Amazing Spider-Man. Hey everyone, it's Hallie here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video I've been wanting to do for such a long time. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong book review and makeup look. Oh my god. I finished this book last night at I want to say 3 in the morning, and I was speechless. I just sat there staring at my bedroom wall for like 10 minutes, just absolutely shocked at what I had just read. It's insanely good, and I am so excited to be doing a makeup look and book review for this amazing 2020 release. Before we get started, I just wanted to ask you guys to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I am about 240-ish subscribers away from 500, which is my end of the year goal. Not sure if we can do it, but please hit that subscribe button so I can get to 500. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let's get into this book look review. These Violent Delights is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920s Shanghai, and it's pretty obvious that it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. The title is These Violent Delights, which is the quote from Romeo and Juliet. These violent delights have violent ends. The main characters are Roma and Juliet. And then we've got Benedict, who is Benvolio. We have Marshall, who's like Mercutio. Tyler, who's like, oh, I forget his name. It's like Tybalt or something like that. In this retelling, there are two gangs, the Scarlet Gang and the White Flower Gang. The Scarlet Gang is made up of the Tsai family, Juliet, and then her father is Lord Tsai and her mother is Lady Tsai, and it's made up of Juliet's family. And then the White Flowers are Russian. They are made up of the Montagovs. So it's Roma Montagov and then Lord Montagov, who is his father. And the main difference between the two gangs is that the Scarlet Gang is focused on loyalty. So Juliet is the heir to the Scarlet Gang, and she will be the leader once Lord Tsai dies. But the White Flower Gang is not like that. It's if Lord Montagov dies, he would choose who is next in his stead. So it's not necessarily going to be Roma, and a lot of people don't think it is because of how much he's kind of like disappointed his father. Like his father sees him as a disappointment, mainly because of his affair with Juliet, who is the heir of the rival gang. One thing I wanted to mention before I get too far into this review is that there are a lot of trigger warnings for this book. There's a lot of gore. There are descriptions of insects, like gross insects, and then murder, violence, like gang violence, parental abuse. I know there's more, but that's basically like the gist of it. Like if you're triggered by any of those things, maybe this is not for you. However, I just absolutely adored this book, and I think it was so good. And it wasn't ever like too much. So like the gore scenes weren't like insanely gory, but like it's there. The book starts off by showing a bunch of men getting kind of like attacked by a monster in the river, and they like rip their own throats out, and you're not sure like what it is. And the rest of the book is kind of dedicated to figuring out like what is happening, why are these people ripping their own throats out. It keeps happening to large groups of people, and so a lot of the book, most of it, is investigating this part. And this is really, really cool. I thought the fantasy aspect of this and like the monster and the madness was wow. I thought that the fantasy aspect of this book was so original and creative and shocking. Like, I did not guess even like one thing that happened. I was like surprised the entire way through. I was never bored. It was always so interesting, and like it was executed amazingly. Like, I don't even have any words for how good it was and how like new and original and creative it was. So we find out in the first few chapters that Roma betrayed Juliet 4 years before the book took place. They were lovers, and then one day the Scarlet's servant house, I think, exploded, and after the explosion, what was left was a white flower, like a white rose, with a note attached to it that said, "My son sends his regards." So obviously it was from the Montagovs, and the only way they could have gotten like information about how to attack them was from Roma. Juliet was sent away after this because the Sais decided it was too dangerous for her to stay there, and they didn't want her to be hurt. So she was sent to America and stayed there for 4 years before returning to Shanghai. Roma begins to investigate the deaths, and then he and Juliet both witness one together, and they end up having to work together to figure out what is happening. Because the thing is that both Scarlets and White Flowers are dying, so they weren't sure like who was doing it. So it was clearly not White Flowers or the Scarlets. It had to be another group of people targeting like the gangs specifically, like not just one. I'm going to try to limit the amount of spoilers that are in this video. Of course, I'm not going to spoil anything big or like the shocking ending or the cliffhanger or anything like that, but I am going to be discussing like parts of the plot. So if you're not into that, just come back once you've read and we can talk about it. One thing I really adored about this book was that there were alternating point of views, which I really love, because a lot of time, especially in fantasy, singular point of views can become quite boring, and I think it kind of limits like how much you know, like how much, like, I don't know, it's different perspectives that you get to see, and I really like that. And it wasn't just limited to Roma and Juliet. We also had point of views from Kathleen and Rosalind, Juliet's cousins. We had point of views from, I don't remember if we had one from Marshall's point of view. We did have one from Benedict's point of view. And then some random people, Tyler, Sai, and then other smaller characters. And they weren't huge point of views either. It was just like small little bits, just so you could tell what was going on at the same point in the story as what was happening in like Juliet and Roma's point of views. I wanted to talk about like each major character and like their motives, their thoughts, their arcs, and things like that. So let's start with Juliet. She is the heir to the Scarlet Gang. She is about 18 or 19, has just returned from America, and we see a lot of her not really struggling with her like identity, because she did go and live in America for a lot of her life. Even before she was sent when she was 14, she had lived in America prior to that when she was like 4, and a lot of people have kind of like Americanized her. She wears American flapper dresses instead of like traditional Chinese style in the 1920s, and people know who she is just because of that. She had told Roma that her Chinese name, like, no one says it, no one remembers it, everyone just calls her Juliet. So she has this problem, as well as the fact that she despises Roma for what he did, for telling his father and the White Flowers intel about the Scarlet Gang so that they could attack, and is kind of troubled because she's having to work with him and she hates him, but she's still like remembering things from when they were children and when they were lovers, and so it's very troublesome for her to have to work with him, because all these feelings are coming back after she tried so hard to keep them like locked away. Next we have Kathleen. This is Juliet's cousin. She is one of two twins, used to be triplets. One of them died when they were a child of an illness, and then Kathleen is transgender. It's never actually like explicitly said, but it is obviously mentioned and talked about, kind of, in internal monologues and things like that. And Kathleen took the place of the real Kathleen who died when they were children, and Kathleen is actually Celia, but if anyone had known that it was her, she would have been in danger, because obviously being transgender back then in 1920s China was not something that was taken very well at all. Kathleen is closer to Juliet than Rosalind, her sister, is, and helps her more often and understands like why she does the things she does. Next we have Rosalind, who is a rising star in Shanghai. She is a dancer at a burlesque club, and it is shown that she doesn't really trust Juliet as much as Kathleen does, and worries for hers and Kathleen's safety, because no matter what happens, Juliet is safe. She is the heir of the Scarlet Gang, but Kathleen and Rosalind are not size. They are from Juliet's mother's side of the family. So if things go bad, they are not necessarily safe from harm. Rosalind ends up seeing the monster on her way out of the burlesque club one night, and this only kind of further incites her fears and her distrust in Juliet. Next we have Roma, and obviously he is the heir to the White Flowers gang. He was in love with Juliet when they were children and then sold her out to his father, and now he is desperately trying to get Juliet to work with him because both White Flowers and Scarlets are dying and he needs this information. I'm not going to say the one spoiler that makes him very desperate to work with Juliet, but something happens and it makes him more eager to find a cure or a way to stop the madness that's taking over everyone. Roma is always trying to impress his father, because he's not really the heir. Like, he can be overthrown. His father can absolutely choose someone else to take over the Montagov line, and Roma is sure it is his, I think, not even his cousin, Dimitri, I forget his last name, but he is more of his father's favorite. Let's talk, before we get into the other characters, about the romance between Juliet and Roma. In present day, it never really ventures towards their feelings. Like in the internal monologues, they don't really approach their feelings. They just like tamp it down. They don't even like, there's no really yearning or longing or any of that. It's like business. This is business. And then like they'll remember like a sliver of a memory from when they were lovers and children, and they'll immediately like push it out of their mind. They can't remember it. Most of what is at the forefront of their minds are, I am going to kill him or her. Like they hate each other at this point. And there's one line in Juliet's point of view, in her internal monologue, that's he is mine to deal with, he is mine to destroy. It's so good. Like, I think that a lot of times enemies to lovers is not done right. It's not even really enemies to lovers. It's just like, I kind of hate you, to, ooh, I'm attracted to you instantly. No, this was lovers to actual enemies, enemies in rival gangs to lovers again, which is so interesting. And like, I don't know, I think it's just one of the more superior tropes regarding romances in books, and Chloe Gong really, really outdid herself, even though this is her first book. I'm pretty sure this is her debut novel, and it absolutely impressed me 100%. I was so obsessed with this romance, and I think it was extremely well done and beautiful, and I am foaming at the mouth for the second book. I will be getting that arc if it's the last thing I ever do. Our next major character is Benedict, and he is Roma's cousin. So he is a Montagov, and he and Roma are close friends, along with Marshall Seo, or Seo, I'm not sure how you say that. And they are kind of like a little trio of friends. It's really cute, and I love their dynamic together. Benedict is in some way neurodivergent. It's never said explicitly, obviously, but there are scenes where he is like obsessively trying to draw the perfect circle, because somewhere in his brain he thinks that it could solve everything, like it could make everything better if he were just able to draw a perfect circle. And then it talks about how he would turn on lights and a certain number of times, or else the day would be bad. So it's clear that he probably has OCD, and we see that in his point of view, and it's really nice, especially for a book that's set in the 1920s, to see this being like addressed in a book. Like it's new, and Chloe did a really great job with writing that. Lastly, we have Marshall, and he is the third in Roma and Benedict's trio, and I don't think we get his point of view. Actually, yes, there's one, and it does talk about him having like an attraction to boys, but barely. So we get to find that about Marshall, and both he and Benedict are really, really interesting characters. They are kind of like off to the side when it comes to them and Roma. Like, it's not always a trio. A lot of the time it's Benedict and Marshall and Roma, because they kind of get along more and goof around more, and are able to have more freedom than Roma, who has his duty as the heir of the White Flowers, and he has things to do. So it is a lot of the time just Benedict and Marshall. And all of them, Roma, Juliet, Kathleen, Benedict, and Marshall, we're leaving Rosalinda out just because she doesn't really get involved with all of them, but by the end they are all working together to stop the madness and figure out what's happening. And I am not going to spoil any of the ending at all. But I just wanted to say it was so cool and shocking, was not expecting it at all. She pulled like 3 plot twists in a row that I was like about to fall off my bed over because it was so insane, and I was screaming. I'm sure my neighbors heard me. They had to have heard me scream at chapter 36. I literally like choked on my own spit. This book was just 100% 5 out of 5 stars. I honestly didn't see anything wrong with it at all. I had no problems with the writing. I was intrigued from the first page, which is strange because prologues are usually kind of boring, but this was insanely good, and I absolutely recommend you go read it immediately. It is amazing, and Chloe Gong deserves all your love and excitement for this book and its sequel. These Violent Delights is absolutely going to be in my best books of 2020 list. Honestly, it's probably tied for first with The Silvered Serpents by Roshni Chokshi. I just think I can't decide. I can't decide which one is better. Like, they're both so magnificent, and These Violent Delights was, I was expecting it to be good. I was not expecting it to be this amazing. I feel like there are some characters that you just instantly love. Like, it's just, you read like the first thing they say and you're like, holy shit, that's my child. That is how I felt with Roma and Juliet. It's insane. Like, everything was amazing. The chemistry, the banter, the hatred, it was all so good. And I absolutely just need all of you to go read it right now. All right, so that is the finished look for These Violent Delights. As you can see, I did a black and gold half cut crease with a green eyeliner to match the green from the leaves. I did the red lipstick for the roses, and then the title words color thing is like a silvery kind of color. It's not exactly white, so I did like silvery freckles. It's kind of hard to see unless they're under the light, but still. And then I'm wearing gold earrings, and I did a gold highlight just for like extra gold that's right there. But yeah, go buy These Violent Delights right now. Read it as fast as you can. It's amazing. You don't want to miss out on this insane read. Next week, I will be posting a book shopping vlog. I already went book shopping and I had my sister film me and it was really fun. I'm going to be doing that and then the haul right after I do the book shopping vlog. So that's going to be a super fun video. I hope you guys really liked this look, this review. I really love doing reviews for new releases. It just gives me like that buzz. Like, it just came out like yesterday, so. If you like this video, then make sure to click the like button below and subscribe to my channel. Still have that mentality, gonna hit 500 by the end of the year. It's gonna be super fun, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.